2, 1. ¿Qué onda, raza? Estamos aquí de nuevo en nuestro Carpe Diem. This time I'm gonna do it in English because of our guest. He speaks Spanish.
Un poquito.
I don't want to put him in a tough spot.
Thank you.
How are you doing, Daniel?
Doing amazing, brother. How are you?
Good. How? I mean, how long you been here for your whole life, right?
Yeah, like born and raised in Calgary. My I gotta give a little background. So I am Latino. My mom is from Guatemala, but my dad is from India. Yeah. And growing up, like, we never spoke.
That's what you've been looking, man.
Like,
Guatemala. Guatemala.
Yeah, Guatemala. Yeah.
Guatemalans. I mean, I've met a few girls, and they're good looking.
Are you calling me female or?
No. But I'm pretty sure that it's good genes.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, I'm sure there's an exception to the rule.
Sure.
Like everywhere.
I mean, yes. Yeah. So my mom's from Guatemala. Pops is from India, and but we never our mom taught us some basic words and stuff in Spanish. Like her family's here in Calgary, so. So I got like grandparents and stuff here that speak Spanish, but I never. I mean. At this age now, I take it on me that I still haven't learned how to speak fluently. But honestly, I just want to go to somewhere, back in Guatemala or just anywhere in South America or Central America and just learn.
That's probably the white people or the Canadians that I've known that learn Spanish usually because they spend about a year in like Colombia, Mexico or so, and they come back and they're like, "Hola amigo, ¿cómo estás?" Like they pick it up, man.
But it's so funny because they learn it. Like I took some Spanish in high school, and the Spanish they teach you here, at least in Canada, is like Spain Spanish.
Oh, really?
It's a very more formal, like vosotros instead of nosotros, right? So very formal, no slang, right? But you go to Mexico, you go to Guatemala, I mean, it's especially go to Puerto Rico, like it's all slang.
But I'm gonna most likely people in Spain, which I doubted that I was gonna see this. The Spain from Mexico, I can write it anywhere, and I can assure you that it's better than Spanish.
Really interesting.
Because the Spanish from Spain, have you read the Bible?
Yes. Yeah.
So you see how they portray the English, right? Mm-hmm. You may think that's the true language, like the ugly words that nobody uses nowadays.
Sure,
right?
like the thou, thy.
Yeah. I don't think it's like an evolution type of thing, right? Attacking like that at this point, it's unnecessary, it's inefficient, or in I don't think it's the perfect version of English, you know?
Sure.
I think the perfect version it's what's now and what's modern,
Right.
What can be understood by anybody. Mm-hmm. Not if this William Shakespeare comes and it must
right. But you know what? And I was doing some studying on this too. I actually don't think they spoke like that back then. Yeah. So that was more of a form of poetry, more of an art. Most people didn't go around speaking of "Can I pass?" That wasn't it wasn't all. That wasn't really a thing. It was part of the culture with Shakespeare and the drama. Even when in the Bible,
or maybe the upper class, maybe.
Sure. But right? it was most people didn't. They spoke. I mean, the words were different. Slang was different, right? It wasn't. I mean, they definitely weren't being like, "Yo, let's go to the 6th," like that. They weren't talking like that. But it's. I'm pretty confident. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty confident they did not speak like that.
Well, I don't doubt you, to be honest. I just think that it's like comparing, the gymnastics from the 1940s, right? Compared to now. You see how they used to just run all the way and then just do one jump, or when there's the horses thingy, and they just run. They do one flip, and then everybody loses their mind. It's like fucking everybody goes nuts.
Right.
Nowadays, you see the competitive level. It's beyond human sometimes.
Right. So it's evolved. It's
exactly.
Okay.
So maybe at that time, this type of perfect Spanish, for example, vosh, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
For them, they may consider it, that was the peak, and then we come to the evolution of the Mexican Spanish. And the reason I go to the Mexican Spanish, and again, what's up? It's because the Mexican Spanish is used for all translations in Latin American. So if there's a translation for Latin American movie, they dub it to Mexican Spanish.
Interesting. Okay.
You know, and it's much more popular than Spanish from Spain than from anywhere else.
Interesting.
Because we consider it is the most neutral one, the neutral. You know, we don't have the thing in the mouth.
Right.
Or we don't have the beautiful accents from the Colombians or Argentinians. No, that is more difficult to hide. You know, our accent is in a way more subtle if we want to.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you can recognize an Argentinian even if in like, boludo, ayer la concha de tu madre. You know,
Sure.
they have these specific.
There's very distinct.
And a Mexican, I've been confused with Venezuelan, with Colombian, with many different things, and sometimes never been confused with Mexican.
True. Yeah, and you know what? I learned this from. I mean, I got a couple like Dominican friends. You know how you know if someone's speaking Spanish from Puerto Rico or the Dominican?
Yeah.
Is you can't understand what they're saying.
We say that about Chileans.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, a Chilean girl was here last week.
Okay.
Right, so it's gonna be the one before you. And no hate towards Chileans, you know?
Yeah.
But they speak fast.
Very fast.
Right, like, oh, concha tu madre, and I'm like, okay. You have to have Chilean friends to kind of get a hang of how they talk. You know, Guacho, he's Chilean, but he doesn't have a speed anymore. You know,
But he's grown up here though. Like
a lot of the time, and he has this mixture between French and English sometimes. You know, because he speaks mainly French, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, he adapted. So he's Chilean, so it's a little slower because he wasn't there all the time, you know.
Right.
Especially you get modisms and these regionalisms. I don't know if that's how you say it in English. A slang. Sorry.
Oh,
slang.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
When you're a young guy, you know, a teenager, you know, you don't really get it when you're an adult.
Right.
You know, you don't see a dad saying, "Yo, what's up, Holmes?" You know, or fuck, I don't know. What's the slang, dude?
Yeah, no, that's
you know what I mean, right?
I get your point. Yeah.
And children don't really use slang until they're around 10 to 12, right? So when you're before, you're trying to focus on learning, you know, or like, you know, grabbing words because you don't know what the words mean most of the time.
Yeah.
So so I think people that are in the teenagers, they usually don't get the slang from the country, right?
Yeah. That's fair.
And I don't put you in a tough spot not speaking Spanish. I mean,
that's
like
fine.
it's again, you were born here, you know, and being practical is like, where am I gonna use in Spanish?
Well, it's a beautiful language though, bro, and it's so easy to learn. Like it's phonetic. The way it looks on paper is how you pronounce it. English is not like that. English, there's you look at like the same word. For them, dude, 90% of the words, the way it's spelled, if you pronounce it. I mean, you'll sound super white, but the way if you pronounce it like that, it's
maybe not considering the accents, because Spanish has accents.
Yes. Like aside from the accents,
beginning or end of the word, or female to each word, female or male. It has a gender, two genders.
Very true.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cut that.
No, keep it. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Oh man. Okay. Anyways,
come on, what's up?
The whole point was I don't speak Spanish. Yes, you can send me your hate mail. I'll take it. And I will learn eventually. I'll learn eventually.
I know, like half of the people here that were born here don't speak Spanish, right? Like, and they have backgrounds, and that's fine, right? What usually gets me in the times that I've gotten into kind of like arguments. Was when they talk bluff or bad stuff about Latinos, and they're half Latino, or they're full Latino born here, and they're like, oh, I don't speak Spanish, you know, and they do these kind of things that I'm like, bro, why are you belittling the language, the culture, you know?
Yeah.
If we're honest, you know, and in America, for example, they don't really have a culture. Right, everything is stolen. You know, the Cowboys is from the Cowboys that were from Mexico, from a lot of the times, or from Brazil, the Pampas. The food is from like Germany, hot dogs, and they don't really have nothing original. Right? So, and a lot of these places that you cannot hate on these ancient cultures, because it makes us what we are today.
Yeah, 100%.
Fuck, man, we got deep right away, eh? Good question.
We're not even yet. We're just getting there.
Just to get it out there, but you believe in aliens? In a life form, maybe not in this galaxy or in this solar system, but a life form that can speak, communicate, they have a language, they have a social structure, they have everything, but they are not us. Do you believe in something like that or not really?
So, no, and here's why.
Okay.
I'm not, if you do, I'm not going to be like, you're going to help, like I'm not,
of course.
So for me, like I'm, I believe, when you ask if I read the Bible, I read the Bible every night. And every morning.
Are you Catholic or Christian?
Christian.
Okay.
Yeah, and so.
Oh yeah, okay. Gotcha.
So all of my values and my belief come from from the Bible, and so when it comes to things like aliens or extraterrestrial, I don't find that in the Bible of when God made the earth. It wasn't. And this would be a whole nother conversation on that.
Yeah, no, you know what? Let's switch topics because I didn't know you were Christian.
Okay.
And I don't want to put you in that tough spot because...
Dude, don't put me in whatever spot you want, bro. I'll find a way in it or out. Doesn't matter. I'm good.
So
I'm good.
Wrong if Sorry, Mexicans... And I'm gonna tell you straight up, Mexicans, we have a very dark side of some humor in a way, and very like double meaning of words.
Gotcha.
I'm like, oh, do you want me to put you in a position? Relax, man. Buy me dinner first, type of thing.
I got you.
Sorry if I come up like that, but it's
all
like
good.
Fuck,
No worries,
it's already impregnated in my brain.
Yeah. No worries.
Anyway, so. Just to start the conversation, right?
Yeah.
You're in the business industry, entrepreneurial type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm correct? Yeah. So what made you get into that? Because a lot of the kids, especially in Canada, what I've realized is their parents secure their future for them. They plan their future in a way that, hey, I already have paid your school, but you're gonna have to go this, you're gonna do that, and you're doing it at 17. You have no option, or if you want to keep living at home, you have to study this.
Right.
And that happens at least 80% of the people I know that are Canadians.
Yeah.
Right? So what you wanted to do is something different.
It's a good question. So can I address that point that you just made about Canadians?
Go.
So before I move on to mine, so by Canadians too, it's not like you're white Canadians, because I have a lot of friends that are, Filipino, Vietnamese, Indian, but they're born in Canada. So they're Canadian by being born here, but they're not like white Canadian, like fourth generation Canadian type of vibe. So, but I do agree that I'd say most of my friends that when they graduated high school, first thing was go to university. Yeah. I do think that's changing though. I've noticed people are taking 1 to 2 years before they go to university. Yeah. And it's actually, if maybe that's just my own experience. I only know a handful of at least maybe my friends whose parents paid for their school. Yeah. The majority of my friends had to pay student loans or they worked for it. So and maybe that's just my own exposure. Yeah. But I only know a handful of individuals whose parents paid for the full school.
Okay, not many.
Not many.
Yeah.
No, I'd say most go to school. Don't get me wrong. Most do go to school because that's just the thing to do. Yes. So for me, why did I want to go down the path of, entrepreneurship and business and get, so it started, so in grade 1, I was in traditional school. Grade 1, I was really bad at math. Which is, it's ironic because I work in, working in money and finance, it checks out. So I was really bad at math in traditional school, and the teacher would hold me in for recess. Now, when you're in grade 1, you're like, what, 6 years old or something, right? Grade 1. I was a kid. But the thing is, you go to school for recess. I didn't go to school to be in the class. I went to school for recess. When that gets taken away from you, you feel bad. Yeah. Right? Naturally. And so, pretty much, my parents took me out of school, traditional school, because they didn't want me growing up hating learning because of a bad experience in school. Because learning is lifelong, right? I think we can both agree. Learning is, you have to learn. You had to learn how to do this.
You have to know how to read, how to write, how to do basic math. Yeah, right? I get it.
And learning in general. You don't need to go to school to get an education. Right? Mark Twain said, don't let school get in the way of getting an education.
No, of course.
Right? So
But a lot of these times, or a lot of the education that it's provided in the first 6 grades at least, I think that's pretty basic.
Yes.
I think that everybody should do the 6th grade at least.
Yes.
And then even like 7, 8, 9, it's optional.
You know what? I would disagree. I think even high school, I'd say everyone should at least complete high school.
Okay, wow.
I'd say just because of when you start to mature and find your own identity, independence and stuff when you get to grade 11, grade 12. So I think as you're going through that stage mentally, I think it's good to get slightly more advanced concepts on, okay, maybe you don't have to learn how to do, human biology, but like basic writing, arithmetic, math, so I think the basics, yes, but things that, don't make a difference in your life, like gender studies and all that stuff. I don't think. I
used to be really, really against the whole mathematics.
Okay.
And for the longest time, and I wanted to drop out of high school for the longest time. I really couldn't. But my fight was against, why am I learning this if I'm never gonna use fractures or whatever.
Sure.
And then I learned later in life that learning math teaches you how to solve problems.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm really good at that because I get into trouble all the time. So I learned. You learn to improvise. You learn how to be very quick with your mind.
Yeah.
But then when they're teaching you math, they're teaching you, because you need how to, instead of telling you, because you'll become smarter, more efficient with problem solving and with real life problems. Mm. And you see it with fuck math, why am I gonna use this?
Right, yeah.
But in an adult perspective, I'm like, okay, it's gonna help you in the future for this, right? And certain subjects, how do you call them?
Courses, subjects,
yeah. They teach you certain things,
yes.
But in the first glance of it, it's, why am I learning this?
Yes,
I don't need to know about the cell reproducing. I'm not a biologist.
You're not going to,
Exactly, unless you go into it.
I agree, but I also think just a basic understanding of how the world sort of works. Basic economics, understanding how does money flow. Why do we have, why do we have cars? Where does that come?
However,
the basics.
High school doesn't teach you that though.
Sure, true. And so that's part of why, and again, tied into my story too, part of why I got into the money space where I'm at now, and I'll explain more of what I actually do in a second. So grade 1 happened. Parents took me out, so my mom homeschooled me for most of elementary. Right, so for those that aren't familiar with homeschooling, it's just, she taught me at home, right?
Yeah.
And that was...
Isn't that that difficult or no?
For my parents, it was, right? Because, my dad was working 2-3 jobs at the time. My mom was...
Immigrant parents, right?
You know how it is.
Hustlers, man. They're hustlers.
Bro. That's, there's one guy, Bedros Keuilian, he says, it's what's called the immigrant's edge.
Okay.
Right,
what is that?
Of that, the advantage that immigrants have coming to Canada that maybe not second or third generation Canadians have per se, is because typically you're coming from a country where you don't have the same rights and freedoms as you have here. Yeah. So because you have a lot to be grateful for, you tend to work much harder as a result. Bro, and just straight up, you go to certain towns in Mexico, you're not coming out alive. It's just...
Yeah, no.
I agree. Just Latin America. That's just the way it is. Right? You say a couple of things. It's not just don't do that. It's you chop off your finger. That's just... stuff happens. You know what? So here it's what's...
Forest Lawn is the worst area. It needs to still a first world country type of place,
Yeah, it's we got problems, bro, but the whole first world problem, my phone is slow. But but at least my dad isn't in prison, because
or you have to rob to eat,
Yeah, totally. We got it good, bro. So that's the immigrant's edge. So my dad was working 2-3 jobs while I was being homeschooled, and it was during that time, I was grade 4. When, and I don't know if you would remember this, when the Nintendo GameCube came out. The Cube, before the Wii.
Yeah.
The console before the Wii.
It was grade 6, 7, 5? Grade 3, no? Grade 3?
I was grade 4, so you would have been a grade 6, grade 7. Yeah, so it came out, and Super Mario Strikers, Mario Kart, you have all these games, right? And I remember, I think they still have it today. You can walk into Toys R Us and they give you a demo on the game and stuff.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital a lot as a kid. I had severe asthma issues back then. Man. So, but in the hospital, in the waiting room, they had the GameCube.
Okay.
So because I was there a lot, I was playing it a lot. So I loved it. So one day I went to my parents and I said, can we get the GameCube? And they're like, yeah, go ahead and go and buy it. And I was like, okay, sweet. But I was how I need money.
Yeah.
Right?
How old were you at this time?
Grade 4. So I don't know. I would have been 9.
9. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you find a way to make money, but it's so tough for a 9-year-old.
So that's the thing. It's
so
like
tough.
the exact. So it's okay. Awesome. I need to make money. How do I? Right. So my
you cannot shovel snow because you're gonna fucking have asthma attacks. I'm assuming,
maybe.
right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So and that story is a whole other story. Pretty much, God healed me. I haven't had an asthma since then. And it's supposed to be chronic, right? It's a lifeline. I haven't had
of course.
since. Yeah, I haven't had asthma since I was probably about.
So you don't carry the
10
thingy anymore,
bro. I almost died from having asthma attack. I went unconscious in the ambulance. I remember waking up with like the oxygen mask and everything. This close, bro. To
wow.
You know, so
respect.
Since then, bro, I gotta give. I mean, God pretty much. I mean, he healed me, so I haven't had any asthma attacks since then. Yeah. So that's another story, but. Point is,
I mean, we could go back into that one.
We could.
But let's keep going, and then I'll try to remember.
Okay.
Should grab a pen.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I do have a pen as well. If you. So
this guy is prepared, man.
Where is that? Yeah. So GameCube. So my mom said, well, if you go, and collect, cans and bottles, juice boxes, stuff, you can hand it in to get a deposit for it, right? You go to the bottle depot. They give you at that time it was 5 cents a bottle, 25 cents for like a milk jug.
Yeah.
And so we live in a cul-de-sac, and so she was like, go in the cul-de-sac and walk around, and just anything you find on the ground, pick it up and put it in a box and use that and when you have enough, go to the bottle. We'll take you to the bottle depot. We'll cash it in, save up your money, buy the GameCube, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. So I went out, and we don't live in a big cul-de-sac. Like I was gone for
cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac. So that's like those like when you go and drive into a neighborhood and you have just like a circle of homes.
Yeah.
But like there's no exit. You just drive in circle of homes. You drive back out.
Yeah.
That's a cul-de-sac.
Okay. So it's not a separate home.
No.
But it's not a townhouse that it's all together.
No. So it's separate homes, but like it's just the community is just like, think of like the cup here, the one entrance, but it's just all these homes in a circle. Yeah. Cul-de-sac. It's like 3 words. It's all hyphenated.
Never heard of
I think it's
name.
French or something. Yeah. Anyways, so we don't live in like in a big. There's maybe 80 homes, right? But I was gone for like 2 hours, and my folks are like, "There's no way he's like, why is he gone for 2 hours? He's gone for And I come back with like this big bag of bottles.
Yeah.
And my parents are like, okay, there's not this many bottles on the ground. Like, where did you? And exactly that. I misinterpreted what my mom said.
Okay.
So instead of just picking it up on the ground, I went door to door, asking people, "Hey, do you have cat?" I'm a 9-year-old Latino kid who's gonna say no. You know what I mean?
It's
so I'm like, "Hey, do you have cats or bottles?"
And we have, especially humans in general, we always have this thing of helping. You see somebody that needs help, and usually most people will rush and, "Hey, dude, what do you need? Are you okay?" Somebody falls. So we always have this thing in our DNA that you help regardless, right? Yeah. And then usually after you figured out, okay, I'm helping a robber or whatever, I'm gonna talk that, But no, dude, that's...
I hope not, but yeah. So I was doing that. So then I came back with a big bag of bottles. My parents are like, okay, well, that's not what we meant, but I mean, obviously it's working, so...
It worked.
So I did that a couple times, and my brother got involved, so we both had our own pretty much hustle business where we were going... And now we timed it because we realized people are partying Friday, Saturday. The bottle, recycling comes to pick it up on Tuesdays. So if we come on Sundays, everybody's home. Everybody's,
nice.
Bottles are empty, so everything's trying to clean up the house. And so Sundays was our sweet spot. So after church, we'd, go and collect bottles. And so him and I would come home with bags. Got to a point when someone heard what we were doing, is that they gave us a wagon. And so we would be carrying a wagon and put all the bottles on there. Then it got to a point when the neighborhood sort of found out what we were doing, because we would be really consistent. We just got way more bottles. And so it got to a point when our parents would have to drive the minivan halfway in the neighborhood so we could put the bottles in, so we could continue to... So then we saved up enough money. We bought the GameCube cash.
How long did it take you?
I don't even know, dude. I don't know. Maybe 4 months, maybe.
Yeah, because back in the day it was more expensive, right?
Yeah.
All these things will cost like, I don't know, 600 when now...
It was like, well, I guess... it would have been, like, back then, the GameCube was maybe a couple $100.
Okay.
But today, like, a used Wii is $50.
But, however, a 9-year-old $200.
Sure,
It's the
bro,
most.
That's retirement money, dog.
Yeah,
like,
it's
I
like
mean,
6 months of work.
Bro, I
I
wasn't making, like, you go from not making any money.
Yeah.
I wasn't broke because I didn't have any expenses.
Of course, you're a
but
9-year-old.
I'm a 9, right?
Yeah. You're broke all the time.
Sure. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
You only have $5 every week, or
No,
give or
but
take.
I got no expense. I got no Spotify. I got no expenses. I'm low, relatively low maintenance.
Were there smartphones at that time? I don't think so, right?
They're like the flip. I remember the Blackberries. The Blackberries
phones, right?
were a big thing. Yeah, flip phones.
But, yeah.
I remember my mom had a phone where the flip phone you like pull the antenna up if you wanted to call.
Yeah, because at that time, we used to play. Used to go out and play bicycle.
Yeah,
not like that
actually
nowadays.
Go outside and
exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, so I did that. So that's how the whole thing got started. And then, but I didn't stop at the GameCube because I'm like, okay, this is good, but what if I just kept doing it?
Yeah.
So there's this one time. It was, 2 times. So it was so funny. I went to this one lady's house, and as I'm walking up, her garage door is open, right? And I look in the garage, and the whole back wall is filled with bottles, big bags of bottles, bro. So I'm thinking, I'm like, I hit the jackpot. Like, this is it. Like, I'm gonna ask. She's gonna say yes.
Yeah.
Take my bottles. Go do your thing. So I knock on the door, and again, garage door is open. So I knock on the door.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing. I knock again, and I sort of hear some commotion, but like no one's coming to the door.
Yeah.
So
You're still 9 years old.
I'm like 9 or 10 at this time.
Okay.
I open the door and I walk it like I open the door and I like peek my head inside, and then I see this lady from the kitchen. She looks and she just like fast walks to the door. So I close it, acting as if I didn't do anything. So I'm just standing there like, and so she opens the door. She's like, "What?" And I was like, "Do you have any cans or bottles?" And she's like, "No." I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like motioning towards her, and then like she presses the button, the garage door closes, and I was like, she's like, "No, we don't have anything." I'm like, "Yeah, but like in your garage." She's like, "We don't have any." I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
bye." So that was it. So that was
Was that your first rejection?
yes.
Oh, fuck, man. That
Yes.
hurts.
Yeah, major one. I mean, I've had people that were like, sorry, we don't have anything. Like, I mean,
of course. But
that was my first like,
rejection. Because that's a rejection that's straight up.
Oh, yeah, straight, yeah.
Because a lot of the times it's genuine, not wait, like they can't help you genuinely,
Yeah.
This time was a rejection, trying to sell that car, and there's actually no, we don't want it,
Yeah.
And you're almost there,
Yeah. So that happened. So the
Memories,
second time, this was funny. I go to this knock on the lady's house, this other lady's house, and she opens the door, and Latina mom or something. And she opens the door and she's like, "Do you have any cans of bottles?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Bottles?" I was like, "Yeah, like juice boxes," and I didn't know she didn't speak any English.
Yeah.
Like what's in Spanish? What's bottles?
Botellas.
Okay, so it sounds very similar. Right?
Botellas, bottles, yeah.
Right. So she's like, okay, un momento. So she closes the door, and you hear some ruffling and stuff, and in the background. And then she opens it and she gives me 2 onions.
Onions, bottles, sounds almost the same.
Bro, what's onions in Spanish?
Cebollas. That has nothing to do. Yeah.
I don't know if I was talking too fast. I talk fast now. I don't know if I was talking too fast back then or what happened. Anyways, so she gave me 2 onions, and I was like, I said, pull out a juice box. I'm like, one of these. She's like, "Oh no, I don't have." I'm like, "Oh, okay, no, have a good day." I don't know, but I'm grateful she offered me onions. I said no.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I got
2 onions. You can resell them,
I mean, sure, but I'm not gonna go home to my mom, and be like, "Hey, I have onions."
Yeah.
Like, where did you get them from? What? I mean, there's a lot of unknowns, right?
Yeah.
So that's how the whole entrepreneur thing started.
Okay.
Then I went back into you like this. I went back into traditional school in grade 5, grade 6.
Okay.
And at this time, during the lunch period, we would sit in the gymnasium, in the gym with in groups with our class, right?
Of course.
And just having our lunches, and kids had juice boxes.
Okay.
Right. So now think of this. Daniel, grade 4.
You were already.
Yes.
On the move.
I was right. So I'm like, I'm seeing opportunity in all these like little clusters of kids, right?
Yeah.
So first couple lunches.
Yeah, and at that time, nobody really thinks of this stuff straight up.
Sure, yeah, most people. But I mean, bro, when you and this is and I do want to address this. When you taste success, because success has its advantages and disadvantages, and this is I do want to go into this in a second. But when you taste success at any level, it sets a different expectation for life. And that's the advantage of success.
Yeah.
Because it is, when I said, my favorite car is Porsche. I love Porsche. Or Porsche, right?
Yeah. I knew it was called Porsche because I saw a video how to pronounce the names of the cars properly in Porsche. So yeah,
Porsche is a proper way. It's a proper way to pronounce it. Most people pronounce it Porsche, but you talk to anyways. That's my favorite car.
You're a show off.
Bro, I love. That's
no, but I get it.
My screensaver, like you can't see it now. It's a Porsche. Anyways,
how much are like decent local? Like around what 60 grand, give or take.
Like for the rims for some of them, like
verga. Okay.
So the
made out of fucking gold or something.
Well, carbon fiber, right? So the one that I want is about 260, 270.
Wow.
But I want 2 at least. Ideally, I want 5. But anyways, so my point is taste of success. When I sat in a Porsche for the first time, I couldn't. You can't sit in a Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche. Like you can't sit in those cars and still be okay driving a Honda Civic. I can't. You can't because you've tasted a level of success.
Of course,
it's very difficult. For me, it was very difficult to drive a Porsche or to drive like a McLaren, and then to go back driving my Nissan Sentra. Grateful for what I have. I'm very grateful for what I have. But I'm not. I can't settle there. So in grade 4, when I wasn't in school, I tasted a little bit of success.
Yeah, no,
being able to buy what I want to buy when I want to buy it with the resources I have. That was sweet.
Yeah.
So grade 5, because I tasted, my expectation was here. My thought process was already a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I collected the juice boxes from the kids in those clusters, right? And but then I realized I'm like that takes away from my lunchtime because now I'm not eating or eating as much, right? Because I'm collecting juice boxes. So what I actually ended up doing is probably grade 6. I had about a sales force of 11 people that were working for me. That were what I would do. I pay them commission, so they would go collect juice boxes. They'd bring me the juice boxes, and I'd pay them a penny per juice box. So I don't know if I still have it at home, but I had a full tracker. I think I still do, and I'd tally how many. Like I have the names of everybody, and I'd tally how many they brought each day. So I had a full Excel spreadsheet on paper before I knew how to do any of that stuff, right? So I was tracking the numbers.
Up to nowadays, I don't even know how to do that spreadsheet.
Okay, fair.
But I get you.
You get the point, right? So I had 11 people that were on my payroll, if you will, that I was paying every day. And it's funny because I pay them a penny.
That's visionary right there.
Well, 100%, man. So this is talk about profit margins. I paid them a penny.
Yeah.
I'd make 5.
Yeah,
like I deposited and make 5. So I was making 4 cents. That's an 80% profit margin. That's insane. I was paying them. That's slave labor. But they were happy because they had
counting your time and
I put 0 time into that joint. Well, the only time I put into it was going to the ball depot. My parents paid for gas. They drove So my expenses were 0.
Yeah.
Everything I made was pure profit.
Yeah.
Right now, I wasn't, I didn't make 10 grand or anything, but that was a fun experience. Now that lasted for about 2 weeks because they all quit. Because they were making enough money. I fired one dude. So I actually fired one guy because he wasn't meeting his quota. And to this day, we still haven't talked.
Wow.
Yeah. So we knew each other in junior high, a little bit in high school, and we just never.
One of those bosses say that, hey, you're not meeting your quota.
Okay, I wasn't like that. I was like, hey, bro, we're gonna, you're not making, meeting these requirements, and I don't think this is for you. I did not speak as polished as I do now.
Yeah.
But that was essentially the conversation. And
hey, fuck off, dude. You're not getting me my juice boxes. You're like a gangster, sitting. I'm like, oh, you don't know how the juice boxes.
Okay, so maybe not that word for word, but yeah, in essence, yes. So anyway, so that's really where it started.
That's really you Padrino,
Oh my gosh.
The Godfather.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That's crazy,
not exactly.
man.
So that's where it started, bro.
Yeah.
And this is when in junior high I never got into narcotics or anything. I never did any of that.
Of course. But you're still a capitalist.
Yes, capitalist.
You're a boss at that time. It's still respect.
So I appreciate that. So junior high, I just sold stuff. I'd buy chocolate, sell it for twice then I bought it. Just convenient. So I like to sell. I love sales. I really enjoy doing that. And so that's when the whole entrepreneur thing started for me.
Yeah.
And this was before being an entrepreneur was cool.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying I haven't made it now by any means. I'm still on a very long journey.
Yeah, of course.
But doing like.
Yeah, now it's very normal to see TikTokers. Click more to
Thank
see
you.
what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur nowadays. Yeah, of course. But back in the day, where you get ridiculized for trying to sell stuff.
Yes.
Because a lot of the times happen that I'm like, and because kids are awful, dude. Kids are horrible. They fucking insult you, and they don't have filters. I remember when I was a kid, and this other dude used to sell donuts. We used to make fun of him, like, hey, dude, you got some donuts, come bring it to me, like we'll fuck around with him, and nowadays, you praise the guy that sells because you know that guy is gonna do something.
So true. So true.
But again, kids are horrible, So I'm assuming you had lived a little bit of that, and now you're like, now it's cool.
Yes.
Man?
Yeah. It's you know what? I've had haters, but like I've never really had, and maybe I'm not there yet. I don't get offended almost ever.
Course.
Like I let it. That's just part of, I guess, who I am, how I've developed and stuff too. But I haven't noticed any haters. I'm sure there's some out there, but I haven't really noticed any people that like hate what I'm doing or like, Daniel, you suck. Like I've had a couple times, but I've barely had it.
And even Grant Cardone, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
He says all the time, you don't have haters. No, you need to get some.
So and that's the thing. So that concerns me because I'm like, I'm putting all this work. I don't have any. Well, I have some pushback. I don't have a lot of pushback. So I'm like, I gotta go harder.
It is true, but it also means, doesn't mean anything bad,
yes,
right?
True.
Because you can be fucking murdering a dog, for example,
right?
And you're gonna get a lot of haters. But you don't want those haters.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in this industry of like entrepreneurship and sales and all this stuff, it takes more time. Because it's a lot more difficult than to just attack a dog.
Yes.
Because that's easy, right? The shit coming after is not, right? So it's good
analogy.
that you have haters now,
Yeah.
And you eventually will get them.
True.
Right?
True. I like that perspective. Yeah. Yeah. I don't kill dogs.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not about that. Not a vibe.
Don't do it, guys. Never. Man,
Disclaimer.
Treat animals with respect.
Please. Yes. So that's how it started, man. So that's really where it started, and a big, back to your original point about school and stuff. I have to give a lot of credit to my parents because they never forced me, and forced us. I got two younger siblings. They never forced us to go to school. My dad was still is to this day, very strong on purpose. So what I mean is, he really told us, if you go to school, okay, but why? What's your plan? If you don't go to school, fine, but what's your plan? Why? If you want to get a job, why? So being very clear on what it is that you're doing so you're not wasting time.
Yeah.
So as a result, that helped us sort of define really our vision for our lives and what we wanted to do at an early age. Like I had the next 20 years of my life planned out by the time I was probably 10 or 11. Like I had written down goals. I had written down when I was about 12 or 13. I still have the notebook of when I'm 45 years old. Here's how much I want to have in my bank. Here's a car I want to drive. Like I had those goals down by the time I was 12 or 13, at least, just because of the environment. Our parents.
Have they changed?
It's a little bigger now, and and the timelines are a little bit. Some of them are pushed forward. One of the goals was to be a millionaire by 21. Hasn't happened yet. On the way, it hasn't happened yet.
I had the same goal.
There you go. There you go. You get it, right? So, but that vision's still there, man. That drive is still there. So that's really how it started and why I didn't go to school. I'm not against university, not against school. I did a talk on this once. Those that going to school or not going to school, it depends on the person.
Yeah.
There's not one hard fast rule. If you don't go to school, you better be doing something though. Because a lot of people are like, oh, F university, I'm not going to school. Okay, cool. What are you doing though? Are you going to be watching Netflix and playing video games? Unless you're getting paid for that? If you are, go ahead. But if you're not, you can't say F school and then you don't do anything with your life. If you're going to say F school, then make sure that you're making at least money or providing some type of value to somebody. So for me, it wasn't I wasn't screw university, F the profession. It was you know what? That's not for me because I was blessed to have a lot of really good mentors in my life in the business world. So it wasn't like I graduate high school, I didn't go to university, and I bummed around for 5 years. It was, I graduated high school. I launched 2 e-commerce stuff with through my mentors. They helped me with that in the online space. And then from there, I went into the financial industry with my parents. Both of my folks have been in the industry for over a decade. So I grew up with that. So I was, again, I wasn't perfect. I'm not perfect. But I was doing something with my life when I graduated high school.
Even if somebody that is a millionaire by 20, they are not perfect. A lot of these kids, and being honest, a lot of them are lucky. They are, they hit, not the jackpot in a way, but they are lucky in a sense that they were in the right time, they knew the right people at a really young age, But a lot of these kids don't really have the experience of fucking up themselves, Because a lot of, and straight up, a lot of the guys that are really young and millionaires, it's because I don't think it's like a lot of them are self-made. You know what I mean? It's a lot of these times it's like either their parents are really influenced them, or somebody that they were close by, they were influenced by them. Because you get disappointed. When you are like a certain age and you're not a millionaire. I'm like, oh, why not?
Right.
You also have to look at the variables. And 100%. A lot of these variables,
100%.
It's that besides the lucky, besides this and that, there is, I don't know, their parents, this and that, so I get it, I just want to get it out.
And you know what, and there are variables, but I forget the stats, but it's about only 7 to 10% of millionaires are because of inheritance. Only 7 to 10%. The remainder are like what you would call, let's say, self-made. They worked for their money. So now, I don't believe, though, and this is where it might be a little counterculture. I don't believe that you have to go through a ton of mistakes to become successful. Here's an example. I don't believe you have to be divorced to know what a good marriage looks like.
Of course.
Right? You don't need to. Wisdom says, and I'm learning this for myself too, wisdom says learn from other people's mistakes before you make it's time and energy efficient. Like if someone is swerving on the highway because you're going too fast, what most people think is, oh, let me make the mistake so I learn. You swerve on the highway, you're at risk of, getting in an accident.
Of course.
What if you just chose to slow down and then you don't swerve? You learn from someone else's mistakes. So I don't think you always have to go through mistakes. That's why, that's why books are written. It's because people are sharing for free. Well, not free, but like pennies, $20 for a book. Like that's pennies on the dollar. Like for that knowledge. So people are sharing their failures and their experiences. So you don't do those same things. So that saves you time and energy and money.
Yeah, Jim Rohn has a very, very famous talk. Jim Rohn, talking about this topic that it's like, dude, everybody else already made most of the mistakes there are now.
100%.
So go read them, and learn from them. No, I get it. It's just lately, I've become a little more, not necessarily skeptical, but also again, I've been having these issues with the whole meritocracy type of thing, that the more you work, the more you'll make money, because a lot of people don't, especially construction workers, and don't really look into becoming millionaires. They work hard as fuck, but they don't become millionaires, And it goes back to, and sometimes it's not even education anymore, because we are the most educated generation, supposedly.
Yes.
But we are the ones that the most struggling generation is us. And why, dude? It's maybe the knowledge, or it's the circumstances that don't let us grow as fast as, Because if we were to compare our education with our parents or previous generation, dude, we all have houses. We all have buildings, even. Right?
I mean, bro, you're freaking 25 living in a condo in downtown. Like, that wasn't a thing 30 years ago.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Not as many. Like, a lot of my friends are...
30 years, no, because that was the 90s. No, 80s?
80s, yeah. 90s. It would have been 90s.
Yeah, 90s. Yeah, the 90s. But how about the 70s or 80s? Where the house will cost like 30 grand.
Sure. But also job... Well, this is true. Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
That's true.
In a sense of like... it will be cheaper to buy a house than to live in a condo.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Big time. Because a lot of these, and even tuition, right, for young children. In a way, like I get it, because I always been trying to be very positive. And if you read my book, it's I give some advices and, you know, perspectives and my experiences. But I also know that it's not the same. We're not in the same ship. You know, we're in the same sea.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, some people are in a fucking yacht. Some people are in a piece of wood. You know. Yeah. Swimming. You know. So it also has to do with that. So, and this I say it because a lot of people get depressed because they don't make it. You know, and it happened to me, especially like when I was 23. That I was like, fuck, man. I had the goal of having a Corvette at that time. And I didn't have it. And I had the goal of becoming a millionaire. I didn't have it. And I wanted to travel. I couldn't. So it's like, you get depressed for not making it. And I want to ask you how you deal with that, right? Because sometimes, especially in sales, it is a lot of failure, you know? A lot of rejections, a lot of these no, because a lot of negativity that goes to you. How do you deal with that? No, ask you.
Okay. It was a loaded question.
Yeah,
I'll give it. Let me give a recent example. I lost a $10,000 deal last month, 2 months ago.
Ouch. Okay.
No, it's not okay.
No, I know. I'm like, ouch, it hurts.
So pretty much what I was about 4 days too late. I followed up. The guy was ready to buy, man. The guy was like, I'm putting X amount down every month for this program that we're gonna help him with. And the thing is, he met another individual who did sort of what I did, and I was 4 days too late to follow up. 4 days, bro.
You didn't follow up in 4 days.
No. It's the other guy. He bought the product from this other guy 4 days before I followed up with him again. So because I didn't...
Wait, I got confused.
So I met him, and the time between I met him and I followed up on, hey, are we ready to go forward with this program?
Yeah.
He had bought that program from a guy here.
Ah.
So because I wasn't quick enough to follow up, I lost that sale. So I didn't lose, 10 grand didn't come out of my... But
of
what
course.
It would have... At least 10 G's is what it would have... And it would have only taken me 3 hours of work, though. That's the thing.
Of course.
Like... so that sucked.
Yeah.
And so, it's so how do you, get out of that sort of sales depression of, or rejection?
Of course.
Is, a big one is not taking it personally. So here's, and maybe this will go back to just me.
How do you not take personally?
Good question.
Because, again, he decided and I'm not attacking you or anything. It's just I want to know how you deal with it, because
that's fair.
A lot of people go through this shit and they don't know how to deal with their first rejection and stuff. So
good question.
How do you not take personally?
Yeah. So
or you at least.
Yeah. So for me, and I learned this I was at Grant Cardone's event in Miami in 2019 at the 10X.
10X.
Yeah, it was sweet.
That's pretty cool, eh?
So one thing I learned it was from Grant, and he said, it just look at everything in context.
Yeah.
And so part of how I don't get offended and really take things personally is I do my best to be empathetic, to look at things from their position. So, example, I was doing cold calls, one day, and one guy called a mechanic and I said, hey, this is Daniel calling from Eau Claire Partners, da-da-da. And he was like, what the F, man, F you, and I hung up the phone, right? I was shocked, but I was like, okay. Because I'm like, this guy, it's the end of the day. It probably was a bad time for me to call. Could have been busy. I don't know what he's going through at home. I don't know what his work stress is like. So there's all these factors that I don't know. So I can't take it. He's not telling me to F off because he hates me.
Yeah, of course.
It's just he might just be going through a bad day. So for me, the way I look at it, I try to look at things in context. So if you get mad at me for some reason, right? You're just like, oh, Daniel, like, you're an F in this, whatever. I wouldn't get upset because I'm like, bro, you know what? If I was in your position, I'd probably think the same. Because, what if your dog just died? What if you lost it? Like, I don't know what's going on. So I can't, because I don't hold it against people, I don't get offended because I know they're not doing this to personally attack me.
Yeah.
It's just, it's their own, whatever's going on here that I can't see, that's what's causing them to to speak. So
they have so much shit with their boss or whatever, and you're the first person to show up. I'm like, they're gonna dump it on you.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. Even especially now with the whole COVID thing. Like, I don't get upset at the the employees, the storefront employees be like, oh, put your mask on. I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not gonna go rage on them. Of course. They're not the owner. They don't have any control over that stuff, so I can't take it out on.
Nobody really does it, right? If you think about it, they did protests on Stephen Avenue, supposedly to take the COVID vaccine, and they did it for a bunch of days, and nothing happened. They still asking for the vaccine. Can we really have any power in that?
That's a whole nother. I don't want to go down that road. So, but to answer your question, like, how do I deal with when it comes to failure or rejection in sales? I don't take it personally, and how I don't take it personally is it comes down to identity, and this is, I think, a really big issue in our generation, especially something I've been working on a lot and still working on. For me, my identity is who I believe God has made me to be. And again, people can believe in what, but for me, I know God has brought me to this earth for a purpose.
Okay.
And in the Bible, it says that I'm going to do big things. Like, that's just and I believe that. So as a result, I do my best to live my life in reflection of that. So because I know who I am, when someone's like, dude, you have to suck at this, I'm like, hey, I appreciate the feedback, and I move on, because he's not God. You know what I mean? He doesn't know me, so I'm not gonna let his words. Especially
if they don't know you, it's like, dude, like, come on. Yeah.
So how how do I deal with failure or rejection? I know that even what I do is not who I am.
Yeah.
A lot of the time we become so enthralled and so obsessed with our careers, even our passions, that those things make who we are. Like, it's like, if let's say you become a dentist, right? Yeah. You do 8-10 years of school, right? What happens if you get in a car accident and you get injuries that permanently disable you, and now you can't be a dentist? Most people go into depression.
Yeah.
Why? Because their whole life they've associated their worth with what they do.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous. Very dangerous.
But it's in a specific scenario, though. That's because you're in a way ruining that person's life. I don't think that was a good example.
Okay.
Because
so let me find another one.
That is ruining the person's life, because if they can do what they study for, and that's the main source of income, what are they gonna do now? So it's a different example. I don't think applies much. So
honestly.
But I get where you're coming from, though.
Yeah. So my whole point is, if you take away everything, who are you? And if you can answer that question, you got to deal with that.
Okay,
that's my point.
That's a great question, especially. And this philosopher guy was asking, ask yourself this question: what are you without thinking of anything tangible?
Yes.
Anything like money or whatever.
So
what
good.
are you? Okay, well, in my perspective, I'm a writer, I'm a compositor, I'm entrepreneur, I'm a great family member, I try to help my family, etc. I get it.
Great question. When people ask, "What do you do?" What do most people say? "Oh, I'm this, I'm that." No. They didn't ask who you. They asked what you do.
Yeah.
What do most people say? "Oh, I'm." I used to say, "Oh, I'm a financial advisor." That's not what why is my identity tied to that title? It's not. Like, professionally, yes, that's my title. But if someone asks me, "Daniel, what do you do?" I'm like, well, I help people make more money. I help people save money on this and do. So when that's an example of when you tie your identity with what you do is when people, what do you do? Oh, I'm this. No. You're Daniel. You're Jesus. You're David. You're Samantha.
That's forget that,
100%, bro. Right.
And going back to the and this, I was just thinking about it because somebody told me in the previous podcast I uploaded, it's egocentric to get sad or mad at somebody else telling you something, because you're like, wait, no, I'm getting confused. Fuck. Well, I had this idea what I was going to, but now I'm confused.
Egocentric, people telling you identity.
It's, for example, it's egocentric to always think they're thinking of you.
Yes.
You know?
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh, what are they gonna say about me?
Right,
What are they gonna think of me? You know, or they're putting all their attention on me when sometimes maybe it was just a family rant, you know? So,
Right.
I'm like, I have so many haters. I'm like, no, maybe they just had a bad day, you know? Egocentric to think that they reject you in a really rude way.
Right.
And I'm like, that person hates me. And I'm like, dude, no, man, don't think of yourself so much, you know? Maybe think of them. So going back to the empathy type of thing, you know, being empathetic.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what I was trying to get.
And that works, man. And you know what? And back to, the whole original question of dealing with that sort of depression, how do you let that, not affect you? When identity, like if that guy on the phone, the mechanic was, F you, if we went for a coffee, I mean, he's probably the nicest guy, probably a really good guy, and I know he would say the same about me. He wouldn't be, that wouldn't be his attitude if we went for coffee. Like if we really connected on a personal, I know that wouldn't be the case. So it's just looking at things in the right context, but more importantly, being confident in yourself and in your own skin. Because when you can do that, it gives you, not that it doesn't hurt or doesn't affect you at some point, but you'll get to a point when you get rejected, when people say no, when the doors that you thought were open are closed on you, and you don't have those opportunities and things aren't working out the way you want them to work out, when you know who you are, you will still be okay because you know what, this opportunity didn't pan out. That's fine because this is who I am. Let's go to the next one. Yeah. Right? You know what? That didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out. Hey, pick up my things. Let's gather my belongings. Let's keep moving forward. Of course. Right? Because your confidence isn't in that thing. Yeah. Because when it is, what happens when that shifts? What happens if your confidence comes from how much money you have in the bank? Yeah. What happens when there's less money? Then who are you? What happens when there's more money? Then are you going to be more of a jerk? Like. It's good to identify who you really are without 100%. Any tangible thing. I guess. It's difficult, hey? Oh, it's a journey, man. It's not a one time. It's a journey, 100%. Yeah, because going back, a lot of people I've talked that are doing maybe a temporary job, right? Dollarama or Walmart, right? They say it with such a shame, right? A lot of these times I'm like, for now I'm doing this. I'm like, dude, that's fine. Nobody judges you. If you think about it, I'm kind of unemployed. I only work when I work. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So we all battling, in a way. We all want to make it. So I think people forget that everybody is battling, because a lot of these guys that are commenting and hating are also battling, and they want to take it on somebody that is also battling. I'm like, dude, don't do that, Yeah. Right? To punch a bag and go train something. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And it's not really what you do, dude. It's your values. A lot of these times. Big time. But I also believe that people should aim high, Yes. Because worst case that happens, if you're aiming high, is that you're gonna get somewhere out there. Right. Yeah. Regardless. But if you're always aiming shitty, aiming for I just wanna be the manager of this store. Right. And no hate towards managers, right? But if you're only aiming there, right, and you get there, you're gonna realize it's not that big of a deal. But when you're aiming high, and you get to upper manager or whatever, I'm like, dude, you're still doing great even though you didn't make it, right? And I think people should aim high in a way, Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know. Hey, so yes, high, I think it needs to be defined individually. It's very subjective. Yeah. High for you is this. High for me could be this when you look at it. Like it's very subjective. But and I'm speaking to myself when I'm going to say what I'm about to say. The journey and the process is what makes the destination worth it. The journey and the process is what makes the destination worth it. Okay. And I'm going to talk about something that not a lot of people talk about. Is it's not always about, you know how they say it's about the journey, not the destination. The reason why that's the case is because the process is what allows you to handle or enjoy and maintain and enjoy the so if I don't learn how to drive, or I just got my license, there's no way anybody's going to trust me with the keys to a Ferrari. if I just got my license,
Yeah.
if I've never driven before,
Of course.
or I'm not good at driving, right? But if I spent, 10 years taking courses and doing trainings, and then someone has me a Ferrari, I can handle, 800 horsepower,
Yeah.
and just ridiculous, hundreds of pounds of torque, and not crash it because I've gone through the process has prepared me to handle that. What a lot of people, and again, speaking to myself here, but what the process allows you to handle the blessing that's on the other side. Because especially our generation is, we want instant gratification.
Yeah.
I want the Ferrari, but here's the thing: is people want the Ferrari and not have any prior driving experience. What's going to happen? You're going to get it, and you will crash.
True.
And so the thing is, if you don't go through the process,
Yeah.
what you think will be a blessing will actually destroy you.
Yeah. Especially all these one-hit wonders, right? Like they go famous so fast,
Yeah.
and then they ruin their life. They start doing drugs, hardcore, because they fucking have so much money. They don't know what to do with it.
And then that comes from a lack of the right mentors, right environment. And back to at the very beginning when I said about the advantages and disadvantages of success. The disadvantage of success, and I noticed this with a lot of startups, is when you make a lot of money really quick, and you have no board of directors, you have no advisors on your team, or you have no mentors. When you make a lot of money really quick, it gasses you up. You feel good. You think you know what you're doing. You don't. But the disadvantage of that type of success is you actually haven't learned the right skills to maintain that, to handle that, to duplicate it. Sometimes it might be luck. Sometimes it might be, happen, closed a couple of big deals. Cool.
Yeah.
But if you haven't developed those skill sets to handle that, then, like you said, that money might cause you to do drugs, to get into alcohol, to spiral downhill.
It's gonna consume you because it's gonna overflow you, right?
Exactly.
And even a lot of these people, again, go back into depression, go back into these things, in this chaotic mindset. I call it the "what the hell am I doing" mindset. That you get so overwhelmed with something that I just started doing. What the hell am I doing?
Right.
Over and over, or yeah, man. And some people have good mentors, good guidance, and they blow up.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And they keep it up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, fuck. Hey, let's do a quick pause.
Yes.
Right? Because it's been over an hour, so I gotta.
Oh my gosh.
Quick this. I don't know. It's fucking half past. 3, 2, 1. Oh fuck. Fuck. There you go. I need to make that, otherwise it gets. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, Raza, we're here again. Fuck, I'm confused with my Spanish and English, man.
Spanish, bro, that's the way to go.
So, do you believe in bad mentors? Like, have you had a bad mentor? Honestly, come on, nobody's gonna really
you know what?
do this shit.
I've had bad influences.
Okay.
I can't say I've had really a bad mentor, right? Like, so let me ask you this: what do you mean by bad?
Okay, I'll tell you my story and then I'll kind of elaborate there.
Okay, thank you.
So I met this guy, right? And he got a few of my friends, and you know them. I'm not gonna say names.
Sure.
And this guy was a scammer. He was they were looking for him, the police in Ottawa, for example, right?
Okay.
And then he's in Calgary here, and then he's getting all my group into these sketchy businesses, right? Oh, invest here, invest there. You only need $500 or whatever. And then after that, they found out. But at the beginning, I kind of confronted him, and he started yelling at me, and it was really bad. For them, he was a good mentor. For me, it was like, because at the beginning, I trust him, until I found out that he was being looked by the police, etc. So it's like, okay, he was a bad mentor, but not until you realize, So have you had anybody like that?
Maybe not to that. Okay. Yes,
nothing that goes into the police type of thing. Or?
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, I've had buddies that have been locked up, and I mean, yeah,
everybody has a share,
Yeah, but so mentors, I'm definitely. Are you good, bro?
Fuck yeah, I'm good.
Is it too hot?
A little bit.
I am, especially now, much more careful on who I let influence me. So, and you'll like this. There's 3 types of people that you want to have in your life.
Okay.
And I got this from a good friend, Michael Ciervo. So, Michael, if you're watching this, shout out to you, brother.
Michael who?
Michael Ciervo. Ciervo.
Ciervo.
Yes, he's Filipino.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
really,
that's a cool nickname, man.
It's a nice name. Yeah.
Arrow or Sparrow.
Bro.
Is
that what it means?
Ciervo means no. What does ciervo? No, ciervo means like pastor, like somebody that guides.
Interesting.
Ciervo. No. Ciervo means deer.
Deer. Like.
Fuck, I'm getting confused.
We'll
with
just
those
Google it
Spanish.
afterwards.
But anyways.
Okay.
Michael.
So anyways, so there's 3 types of people that you want to have in your life. The first group is you want to have those that mentor you, those that you let influence. So those that are like your coach or are your mentors. That's the first group of people that if you're here, that are like living life and operating at a level that's here.
Yeah.
Right. So they're the ones that are pouring into you, that are mentoring you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Their second group of people is you want to have those that are at the same level, like you and I. Like we're sort of in the same sort of stage in life, right? We're hustlers. We're trying to build that foundation, make it happen.
Of course.
Right. So you want to have those that your peers. Right, those that same vision, same type of mindset and goals. But then you also want to have those that are here. And those that you're mentoring, those that you're being an influence to.
Okay.
And the reason for that,
I was gonna say, well, maybe you don't really want an advice from somebody that is.
So and that's good point, good question.
Yeah.
So it's not that you're taking advice from, but that you're giving advice to.
Yeah.
Right, and the reason for that is because you typically learn the most when you teach.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
And look at it like, I mean, you know the Dead Sea in the Middle East. It's called the Dead Sea because water flows into it and it's dead because it doesn't flow out. So the water is there and it's stagnant. So there's no living organisms. So that's the Dead Sea. Yeah. So if you are getting all this mentoring and like, awesome, good for you, right? You're reading all these books, but if you don't pass that to anybody, you don't pay it forward, you're not mentoring somebody else.
Yeah.
Then it's good that you have all this information. For what purpose, though? If you're not impacting someone else's life, so what? One, that's selfish, but 2, you actually become stagnant, right? You become a positive stagnant person. Yes, you're speaking affirmations every in the mirror, good, but like, who are you mentoring? Who are you giving advice to? How are you influencing the next generation? That maybe, right? So back to your question: can you have bad mentors? Have I had bad mentors? I would say I've had mentors who helped me in, let's say, the business, but looking at their personal life, live very different values, and for them it was good, but very different values.
Yeah, you don't take everything for one person, Yeah. Like if they're good in this area, then you learn from them.
Sure.
Not in, maybe they're divorced 5 times. You don't want to learn that from them.
Marriage from yeah, exactly, right. So I've had to change some of my relationships and stuff in that aspect. When I looked at their life, I'm like, I don't know. Like, thanks for helping me with business, but I just...
Do you like, for example, if somebody's, in a way, you're learning from that person, right? And their life it's falling apart, but then he knows something about this, you still go with them, or for that thing?
It depends what that thing is. So if it's my mechanic and his marriage is falling apart...
Okay, yeah.
But, but if it's something like he's giving me business advice... But then he's sleeping around, and I'm like, bro, you know what? I respect you, but there's certain lines I'm not willing to cross.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, that's one of those lines.
Interesting.
So there's certain lines that I just
because I kind of agree with you, eh?
Yeah.
I think the person that does good in one area is usually pretty good in all the areas. And if they're not good in all these areas, but only one good in one area, I think they're doing something wrong because they shouldn't. You know, usually they're pretty balanced.
True.
A lot of successful people.
Yeah.
If they're not balanced, it means that they're just lucky.
And that's back to your earlier point too. When you have all these really quick millionaires on the outside, they look successful, right? They have the car, the Lamborghini, the girl, the boat. Nice, good for them. But if they don't have the character, they don't have the integrity.
If somebody has $1 million and wants to give it to me, I'll take it.
I mean, I'll give you my bank. I'm a direct deposit. Yeah, you transfer. But if it's easy, like especially now, bro. It's so easy to fake it. It's so okay. I wear a suit. I don't wear a suit for the sake of wearing a suit. I enjoy it. How can you prove that? catch me on any regular day and I'll be wearing a suit. I don't wear it just because I'm on camera or just because I'm on front of Instagram. Like I enjoy looking.
Yeah, you always dress sharp, and that's pretty cool.
And that's just part of like I enjoy doing that. I don't do it so people can be like, bro, you know, I love your sick suit. How much you like? I don't do it for.
And it also is the nature and. Again, in certain industries, you have to look good.
Yeah,
you know, because
course.
you never take advice, especially with money, from a guy looking like me. You know, I'm like,
sure.
Dude, I look like.
I mean, you're a good-looking guy, bro. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Thank you. But I'm thinking more like these rappers, you know.
Just like streetwear. And,
exactly.
Yeah.
You take advice from somebody that looks like they know what they're doing because
Very
impressions
so.
are important.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So. That's good, you know.
Yeah.
You look good. Fancy.
So I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Looking sharp.
So that, you know, is there bad mentors? Oh, of course, 100%. Have I had bad mentors? Yeah, I can't say I really have. I've had like every mentor that I've had. Some part of my life has gone up. Like I've learned and I've grown as an individual. Now,
how about books though? Have you had a bad book that you're like I applied this and it was shit, or for the longest time you were thinking, oh, this is good, and then you're like, oh fuck, why was thinking of that because I read that book of this successful guy. Because a lot of books are garbage.
Yeah.
If you think mine is pretty garbage, but buy it. Go to the link that I'm gonna click.
That's not good advertising for that. That's not how you market.
No. It's good stuff. You know, buy it. I have really cool stories that I shared, and I think it's a good stuff.
I think I'll buy it. So. Books, jeez. I mean,
because
that's a good question.
I don't know if you read, but I'm assuming you have to read a little bit.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, no, I love personal development. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's bad, but one aspect in the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Yep.
Amazing book. Everyone should read that.
It's a really good book.
However, there is one aspect that I've changed my mind on recently, and it's just the way that we are as a generation, as a culture.
Well, yeah, that book was in the 90s, right?
Yes,
the 80s. So.
That's the thing. So one thing that's changed, hasn't been detrimental, like hasn't hurt my business or anything, but that I've had to shift because it's not true anymore, is that people have to like you to do business with you.
That's what the book said?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Is that you want people to like you.
Okay.
Paraphrasing. So the thing is, in today's day and age, people need to trust you. Yes, 100%. People need to trust you. But people don't necessarily need to like you.
True.
Right? I like, my grandma, right? But, if she came and she joined a, network marketing company and was like, hey, can you buy all these products for me? I'd be like, you know what? Like, I like you. I don't trust you, though. So just because I like someone doesn't mean I'm going to buy from them. Yeah. Right? So that used to be an old saying or adage back in the day of people do business with people they like and they trust. Today's day and age, not necessarily the case. People will do business with people they trust.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they necessarily have to like them.
You don't have to like your doctor, but know he knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So that's one thing I've had to shift. I can't say, and maybe I'm not thinking hard enough, but I can't say that there's been books that I read where I'm like,
gave you a bad
this
advice.
was bad. Yeah. Maybe I just haven't read enough books.
No, and I also put you in the spot though. That's why probably you're not coming up right away.
Sure.
No, but what I wanted to go with that is because some books contradict themselves. A lot of the times.
Okay.
Because what worked for this author maybe doesn't work for this other.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe, for example, the Atomic Habits or whatever.
Yeah.
He says focus on the small habits. Don't write big goals. Don't write goals that are out of your reach.
Right.
And then you get Grant Cardone, a billionaire, that says
like
10x your goals and write in the present sense. And I agree with that, but I also agree with the other guy in a way.
Yeah.
Because to get to the 10x, you also have to do the small x. Like the daily habits. The fucking reading and the working and networking and all this to get to buying 200 apartments.
Yes.
It's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
But a lot of books may tell you something different, you know? And I'm like, okay, this guy is very successful. And should I get that advice or not? You know, that's...
So, okay, maybe one book, and I still haven't fully read it yet, but The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. About, you know, working 4 hours. Now, what I do agree is the concept of being more effective with your time, right? Doing more and less. I'm all for that. Yeah. But I think if the goal is to only work 4 hours a week and that's it, again, like, don't hear what I'm not saying, but...
there's no purpose, you know. Working 4 hours doesn't give you any satisfaction.
And even from a, you know, let's say in the finance space, like Dave Ramsey. So my parents. No, so Dave Ramsey, he has a program that helps people get out of debt. He works a lot with the middle class, right? And his program is work as many jobs as you possibly can. Yeah. Cut all, like, don't eat out, don't nothing. Like, you're slate. Like, it's very, very strict, and it's very disciplined, right? Yeah. Because if you have X amount of debt, you have to change your habits, right? You have to change the way you think. But his is it's very drastic, right? So you just work your butt off. Every penny goes to paying off debt. My parents did that because we used to be in a position where we were in a lot of debt. And it worked. My dad had 3 jobs, right? My mom was working. So, but what he doesn't give though is, okay, when you pay off your debt, then what? You're so used to working 2-3 jobs, putting every penny away, having some for savings. Awesome. Okay, now that the debt is paid off, what do you do? And the thing is, there's no vision. Yeah. That's one of the downsides. There's no vision as to, like, you know, trying to build a successful business, raise a good so, you know, with a guy like Dave Ramsey, who, you know, if you're watching this, you might have
successful as fuck, probably.
Oh yeah,
right?
like very, very successful, very well known in the finance space, especially. Grant Cardone isn't a huge fan of him, because of sort of his philosophy. And
there's this book, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
No.
Millionaire Next Door.
Millionaire Next Door
by David Bach.
I don't remember authors' names, but yes, that book. In that book talks, I think it's the one that tells you to don't buy Starbucks.
Yes.
You know. It focuses on a lot of that. And then Grant Cardone will tell you, dude, if you're focusing about $4, you need to change your mindset.
Yeah.
You know, you need to work, you know, because focusing on a Starbucks and it's both, you know?
It is both, yes.
Because Grant Cardone is in a position to say that, you know, because he's a billionaire now. And even though he was a drug addict at 25 and whatever, now his advice to lower class it's not prudent, you know, because he's in a position of privilege, you know.
Yes
of
and no.
Telling, of course, but then I also agree that somebody that it's low income and is starting the business, they shouldn't be wasting money stupidly.
Yes.
Right, on a Starbucks or another. Yeah. But don't worry too much about those $4, you know, because if you're worrying about the pennies, you know, then whenever it's time to invest into something bigger, you're gonna be always worried because you grew up with this worrying. Yeah. You know. So it's a fucking pendulum.
Give and take. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's one of those things where, like, you need to have vision, but you also have to be faithful with what you have, right? If you're not faithful with little, you won't be faithful with much. Right, it's about stewarding your current resources. Yeah. So, you know, with a guy like Grant Cardone, I love the mindset of 10x because it's about expanding. For me, I'm all about, you know, dominating, expansion, moving forward. COVID, like for us, we went from a 400 square foot office to a 6,000 square foot office in the middle of COVID.
It's bigger,
but 400 square feet. More than 10x, 400 square feet to 6,000 square feet.
Oh, wow, okay.
Right, so that's a little more than 10x.
I don't know square feet, man. I'm no centimeters.
It went from
meters.
Small to big, okay?
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll keep it like that. In the middle of COVID, our rent went up by 10 times.
Wow.
More than 10 times. That was a big stretch because that means we need to have cash flow to do that. We did that when we weren't in the best position to do so. Yeah. But we took a step of faith. Now, what is faith? Faith is you believe that it's going to happen, and you take the step, even though this current circumstances don't seem conducive to that result. So, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
What? Can you repeat
I'm
that?
gonna repeat that.
Like, yeah.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for. It is the evidence of things not seen.
Substance of hope.
Substance of things hoped for. Evidence of things. I'll give an example.
Yeah. The words are kind of confused. So you guys know I've been here 8 years and I still have fucking confusion.
It's all
with
good, bro. You can
English.
speak good English. It's fine. So what I mean by that, and it's actually it's a verse from the Bible, and it's an amazing definition because an example.
Maybe why that's so difficult because it comes from the Bible. Dude.
There's different translations, but really what it's saying is faith is seeing it before you see it.
Yeah. Okay, I got you now.
So, Portia, I know I'm gonna get one. I don't have it yet, but I know I'm gonna get one.
Yeah.
I know I will.
And
that's
totally with you in there.
100%, bro. We'll drive ours together, right? So that's faith. I don't have it yet, but I know, and I'm not. My life isn't. Again, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not working my whole life to buy Porsche. Like I'm not. That's not who I am. But
It is an outcome of hitting that goal. You know, of course.
Yes. So, example of faith is I know that's going to happen. It's not physically here yet, but mentally it is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to live my life as if I already have it. So, I mean, I wash my car every few days because if I don't take care of my car now, I'm not going to take care of my Porsche.
Ouch. That hurt because my car is...
I mean, okay, man.
No, but I'm a different case, so don't worry.
Sure,
I get you. I got you going.
I mean, your business requires you to get a little dirty, right?
No, well, my trucks are dirty.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
My car shouldn't be because I have a daily.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, my truck shouldn't. My trucks are okay. I don't give a fuck because they're junk trucks, moving trucks.
Yeah.
But my daily full of mess. Sorry, guys. No, but I get it. And it goes back to the same kind of principle of write your goals in the present sense.
Yes.
You know, because it shifts your mind to think that it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of goals, dude, are impossible. And being realistic, you know, because unfortunately I've been trying to be a little more realistic, but I also have a stupid unrealistic goals. My unrealistic goal. It's become the president of Mexico. And I have written on my book, and I say, if I don't become the president of Mexico in this amount of years, like I wrote it on the book that I'm exposing myself against anybody that reads the book, you know, or listens to this. And I'm already committed to do projects and hopefully get there. Mm-hmm. But again, worst case scenario, I do so many projects and help so many people there that I don't have to become a president of Mexico.
Yeah, right.
You know, I did great things there.
Yeah.
But the goal is there, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe there were $200,000. Maybe you don't get it, but you get $150,000 one.
Right.
That's still an amazing achievement, you know? So the 10x, you know, the whole mindset, I'm full for it because I agree. The reality sometimes is a little nasty, you know, because we all get slapped in the face every so often, you know, with a bill, with an accident, with something. But thinking big in that sense and thinking that you visualize it and you have it, it's a good thing. I personally think it's a good thing. Yeah. Other people might disagree. I think it's a good thing.
And you know what? And Grant Cardone gives an example. He released a video a couple weeks ago. He said when he first learned the 10x concept, his mentor said, because he was at that time he was making like $50,000 a year. His mentor said, Grant, what if you 10x'd it?
At 20 in I think it was like the 60s for him, no?
Yeah.
He's
50 grand. He was 26, 27.
Like 200,000 now.
I mean, I don't know if it'd be that much, but yeah, it definitely would be worth more. So his mentor said, Grant, what if you 10x? What would your life look like? And I think it's a question that we need to ask ourselves too. Is what if you did 10x your income?
35 years ago.
Yeah.
35. No, 35. Because he's
right?
65,
60
I think.
Something, yeah. So he was like, Grant, what if you 10x your income? And Grant's like, okay. So goal was now 500 grand the next year.
Yeah.
He didn't hit it. He hit 350. But like, I mean.
Exactly.
You know, it has a little bit more than 50 G's. So it's you know, I think Eminem says it, but there's also that saying, or C.S. Lewis says it. Eminem quoted him. Anyways, you know, shoot for the moon. If you don't hit it, at least you'll land amongst the stars.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a beautiful one.
Right, and that was C.S. Lewis, and so
I'm gonna steal it for the next lyric.
Yeah, man, that's not me. That's C.S. Lewis. Just gotta
Who's that?
He's a very, very famous author. Have you ever watched or read the Chronicles of Narnia?
Narnia?
The book. He's the one that wrote the book.
Wow.
Yeah, story. Yeah, very amazing philosopher, intellectual. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and his novels are gorgeous, dude. The whole storyline and the depth into thinking of these worlds.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
The guy. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm trying to write this book about this shaman.
Okay.
Right, and he goes on an adventure. It's similar to The Alchemist. Because I'm kind of getting the idea of The Alchemist and The Little Prince.
Okay.
I'm trying to combine them, or at least their principles, and I'm using that book of philosophy to have extra lessons.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this shaman, and it's so difficult to portray the idea of other worlds, and fuck, man, you have to have it. You have to be a lunatic, man. You have to be crazy to think of that. So my respect to authors, man.
Oh, 100%. Especially, those guys they're different. They're built different.
So that phrase, it gives me chills. Shoot for the moon. If you don't land,
you land amongst the stars.
Yeah, that's gonna be the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not, man? Why not? So. So the whole thing with 10x, it's those habits, right? Like atomic habits. Even the Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. You have the Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. So it's all about doing those little things, right? A good example. I played high school football, American football.
Oh, nice. Which position?
I was a receiver, wide receiver with slot back.
So runner.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I wasn't the fastest. I just, I caught the ball and that was my job.
Back free safety.
Oh, really? Okay.
With my size.
Okay, no, that's for high school.
Yeah,
I can see that. My brother played the defensive back. He was a DB. Yeah.
I got destroyed in one of the trainings.
Yeah.
My knee, it got destroyed, and I stopped working because I'm
really,
like, dude, if this happens at training, fucking the real game. I may die. And I was not in a good position to play defense because I'm always been short.
Well, you could still. In high school, here at least, you don't have to be that tall.
Have you seen those black guys, dude?
Yeah, but they're on the line,
they're
bro.
Massive.
Yeah, but they're not playing free safety.
Yeah, but there's a lot of them are runners too.
And those guys, those are scary. Yeah, those guys are. Yeah,
they're scary, man.
Yeah.
I remember there's this dude. I forget his name, but he got a scholarship with the Flames here, or the guys that disappears.
Yeah.
Because the guy was so tall, so big, the massive dude, just massive black guy.
Yeah.
And every time he will get the ball and run towards me, I'm like, fuck.
Are you like, yeah?
The guy will just get out with nothing. And I'm like, oh, fuck, what the fuck? And so, yeah. Yeah, I stopped playing.
So, back to, and my point is, about doing the small things, right? Especially in football. There's this movie called Any Given Sunday with Al Pacino. And in the one scene, he says, football is a game of inches, very much like life.
A game of what?
Game of inches.
Inches, okay.
Right? You look at any Tom Brady's Super Bowl games.
Yeah.
The difference sometimes between winning and losing is...
Wait. Sorry, keep going, and then we'll do a stop.
So the difference sometimes between winning and losing is literally just inches.
Okay. In terms of what?
Example, I was 4 days late for the following up with that client.
Yeah.
Only 4 days. Inches, bro. 4 days. Very minimal. $10,000 is what it cost me. Imagine if you knew that you were losing $2,500 a day. How do you feel? Like garbage, most likely.
Yeah.
Right? So inches. It's those small things.
Losing 500, it feels like shit.
Losing $1 is just like, why? Right? If you don't need to.
Yeah.
I'd rather not lose than,
Yeah.
So
it's a coffee.
Right. Yeah. So my point is, it's those small things. Robert Kiyosaki says the difference between the greats and the good is the greats have the ability to make finer distinctions.
Okay.
Formula One racing. I don't know if you watched the Grand Prix a couple weeks ago. Lewis Hamilton and Max van der.
1 second, because we're gonna finish pretty soon. I'm just gonna switch angle because the other camera died.
Oh shoot! Okay.
I'm gonna.
I'll finish with this.
And this will how it's gonna finish. But yeah, Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton races for.
Oh, yeah, I know. Checo Perez did something there, so the other guy won.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Mexico.
No. Yeah. So Mexico.
You go for Lewis?
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. He got destroyed by Checo. Just saying.
No. That race was Max beat him.
Yeah, but they're in their same team of Red Bull.
Oh, okay. Yes, true.
That's why Checo was doing that, so they stopped the other guy.
Yeah. Okay. So
but it is, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll take Mercedes over Red Bull. Anyways, but I mean, you look at Formula One racing. I mean, dude, it literally points like tenths of a second is the difference, right?
Yeah.
Tenths of a second to the average everyday driver. A tenth of a second on the road means nothing.
Yeah.
Means nothing. But the difference between a guy like Lewis Hamilton and your average Asian mom driving, for Lewis Hamilton, what makes him great is he can make up for those tenths of a second going around the corners, like the way he drives, taking certain angles. That saves 0.001 of a second.
Yeah.
To the average driver, that means nothing. But to him, that could be the difference between him winning and losing. That's why he's great.
Okay.
So that's my point. Is life, and like Al Pacino said, it's doing those small things. It's those little things. It's waking up half hour earlier. It's reading an extra page. It's writing an extra page in your journal. It's talking to one extra person. Going just a little bit above every day makes that whole compound effect happen, and that's what makes long term. That's what makes the greats great. Is doing those small things right, just consistently. Yeah,
because if one of your videos blows up, and you have only 2 videos posted, then you're gonna get forgotten.
Yeah.
But if you have 100 videos posted, then people will know you, and then you have this and that to back you up, then your video will be like. All the videos are gonna kind of give you that kind of foundation, to blow up. So it's the daily habits, the fucking shit that you did. Sorry for being so cursing, but the things that you were doing previous to that, the discipline.
100%, dude. I go live every Saturday evening. I've been doing that for almost a year and a half straight. I have about 80 videos in total out.
Wow.
And none of them have blown up. But I'm not doing it to blow. I'm doing it because it's helping with the discipline. I'm trying to provide value. One day it will, but I'm not living for that.
And it's good to aspire to blow up.
Of course, sure, yeah.
But again, you're gonna have the foundation if you do.
That's the thing, and that's what like people are like, Daniel, like why are you all of a sudden you're at fashion shows and you're doing this, like it looks like you're being successful, bro. I 80 videos and none of them blew up. That's what it took to get to this place. So when I meet people and they know me only through social media, like even like you, it's like, bro, I saw this video, I watched this, I saw you were with this person. So on the outside, it's like, Daniel, no, bro, you don't know the work that I put into this though. You don't know the hours I prepped for each video. Right? You don't know what it like. Do you know what it feels like to go live for an hour and have 0 viewers?
Yeah, that's
and be okay with that.
Yeah.
You gotta that's like
that's
so
part of the
I
gig,
put in some of that work.
Yeah.
So when people are like, you're success, bro. It's just I put in work, dog. I'm not here because whatever. It's God bless me with gifts. I'm using them. I'm trying to build skill sets around that.
Man. That's cool, especially if you see it that way with God bless you with gifts. I mean, other people might see it differently, but to me it's like, dude, you have the ability to speak to others. We have the technology. What stops you from doing that 2-minute video that may be seen by 200 people? 200 people saw your video, dude. That's an amusement. That's a fucking bar full,
Yes,
right?
Thank you.
So even if only 100 or 50 people, that's still a full bar, dude. They cannot fit in my apartment. That's a lot of people. So I'm with you there, that I'm grateful for the little views. Right? Because if it ever happens, I get lucky enough to one of the videos blows up.
Sure.
Then I'm gonna be grateful for the 100 videos.
Yes,
100 views.
That's the thing. That's the process, Doug. That's the thing. That what we're doing on our own. That's the process, because that keeps us humble. So when it does blow up eventually, we're still we're not gonna be like, oh, look at, we're still humble. It's like, cool, that's good. Next video. Video. That keeps us humble. And we can end with this, bro. And I want to share this to the viewers, is that a big reason why most people don't set big goals and don't achieve them, one of the biggest reasons, because I've gone through this myself, is because they do not think that they're worth it.
Yeah, that's a harsh reality, eh?
And it's deep, bro. People that give, you might notice there's some individuals in our lives that give a lot. In general, they give a lot of money or give a lot of clothes, or you're giving stuff. Sometimes, most of the time, they're not giving just because they're generous. They're giving because they feel that they're not worth having that. So they're going to give it away because they feel that they're not worth that. So if someone gives me, let's say $10,000, but I don't view myself as worthy of that $10,000, I'll give it away in the name of generosity. But in reality, it's because I don't feel like I'm worth that.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't face their own realities. Hey, even people are. This is another thing that I may disagree. For example, with Grant Cardone.
Sure.
I think for people, a lot of them, at least 80%, should go to therapy. You know, a lot of us have shit that need to work on because of our past.
Yep.
And for Grant Cardone will say, don't go to therapy. You know, just follow 10x. And I'm like, I personally think that's a horrible advice, because a lot of people need to deal with the personal stuff before they want to actually grow.
Yes.
You know? But it's okay. We differ from there, and we can disagree on something and still be friends. You know, I can disagree with that and I still admire. And goes back to the same thing you're saying. It's if you don't believe that you're worth that, you need to go to therapy. You know, talk about why you don't trust, you don't think of yourself as being great.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Now, I agree that some therapists or psychologists will say, oh, it's okay, be satisfied with who you are. You're okay, you know, stay there.
Oh, bro, that, and like, I mean, I could go off of that for another hour. Like, that's a whole, like, there's a difference between being, you know, complacent and being satisfied, or being happy and being, I'm grateful for where I'm at, but that does not mean I'm okay to settle for where I'm at. Be grateful, but you still got to put in the hustles.
What will be your message, just to what's your philosophy in a minute? And I'm not putting you to a spot, but what's your philosophy in a minute, and what would you recommend for people to that, I don't know, man, like for the future?
Okay, so here's who I'm talking to is I'm right now I'm talking to the young hustler, the young entrepreneur that's maybe in their 20s to 30s. Yeah. That's trying to go after it. Build yourself and who you are. Know that you're worth it. Know that you're worth every blessing coming your way. Yeah. Know that you're worth every good relationship in your life, and know that you're worth every good thing that's coming. Like, just believe and understand that God has made you for a purpose. Yeah. That you're here for. You are not a mistake. You are not a mistake, and that.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, but bro, but for real, man, because so many people live in a lie that's, you know, oh, my parents, you know, had me when, you know, they were, you know, 17 and I shouldn't be here. Or my mom tried to abort, like, and that's just real stuff, man. Yeah, yeah. Right? Parents, you know, maybe parents divorce and they think it's their fault. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So people live. So a lot of time you try to disguise your insecurity and your lack of self-worth with success and with money, with maybe with sex, with alcohol. No, you don't. That's not. You're not an alcoholic. That's different. Keep going. Okay. We can chat after. No, but it's just, I guess the message: you're worth it. Yeah. The past happened. That is not defining who you are. You have the ability to change, so you can. Yeah. You're worth every blessing that God sent your way. Make it happen, and just be great and stay blessed, man.
Nice. All right, guys. So there you have it. Daniel, pleasure, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Y a la raza que lo escuchó en inglés y no sabe o lo que sea, pues ahí voy a poner subtítulos. Sobres, thank you so much for watching. Peace out. A la mierda.
Sweet, man. Sorry that took.
I think recorded. Yeah, I'm just kidding. No, it recorded.